Sportscast, September 17th, 2019. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. Hopefully a positive one. And of course, visit us on thesportscast.net. College football, the Florida Gators, their unpredictability continues. They won like their first game against the Hurricanes. And they recently, this past weekend, defeated the Kentucky Wildcats. It was going back and forth, but they finally won 29-21. And to join us, to talk to us a little bit about Gator football, Ryan Christa. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Hey, thank you very much, Santiago. It's good to be back, and it's good to have the Gators 3-0 so far this year. And then, just in general, we've seen a lot of good college football this year. NFL is in full motion. A lot of devastating news to some fan bases with quarterbacks getting injured, but the leaves are changing up here in upstate New York, and that means football is heating up.
For 31 years, the Florida Gators put on a display of dominance against the Kentucky Wildcats, who did not win games, of all varieties against the Gators. Yesterday was kind of back and forth. Were you nervous, or you knew they were going to pull this off?
I was very nervous. I mean, it was definitely an interesting game. It was back and forth in the first half, and then in the second half, it looked like, Kentucky was pulling away. They went up 21-10. And then our starting quarterback, Felipe Franks, had a devastating injury where he ended up dislocating his ankle. And then, so we need, at that point, I was like, it doesn't look good, but our backup quarterback, Kyle Trask, who's pretty much unproven. He kind of came in with Felipe Franks, has always been his backup. So they're both redshirt juniors. So I think what we knew about Kyle Trask is that he could throw the football. He's probably a little bit more accurate than Felipe Franks. He doesn't have the physical attributes, but he came in and took the Gators back. They scored. They go up 22-21 with about a minute and a half left. Kentucky drove the ball. Then missed a short field goal. And, the Gators ran out, trying to run out the clock. They got a long touchdown. They make it 29-21. But it was definitely, an entertaining game to watch for sure. But, there's a lot of mystery, was this just a one-hit wonder contrast? Is he going to be able to lead us, throughout the season, because right now, we got Tennessee coming up this week, then Townsend, which they obviously will win. But then after that, the month of October, it's pretty rough for the Gators, with, home game against Auburn, going to LSU, going to South Carolina, and then, and with a game against Georgia coming up. So we're going to have, a couple weeks to get things figured out. In the meantime, we can't overlook Tennessee coming up. Even though Tennessee hasn't had a great season so far, the team has got talent. Maybe not the depth of talent, but, this is an SEC team, who got their first one last week against an inferior opponent, but they still got their win, 45-0. So they're feeling pretty good about themselves. And, that's kind of, an important time of year now in college football.
It is. The rivalries are coming up. Felipe Franks had 174 yards, but injured himself at right during the game. He'll be out for 6 months for a dislocated ankle. You think Florida would be better off without them, or would they miss him?
So here's an interesting story, Santiago. Last year, middle of the year, towards the middle, kind of going towards the end of the year, they're playing Missouri. After their game against Georgia where they lost, split difference is inconsistent against Georgia. They play against Missouri. They fall way behind. Felipe Franks had a rough game. They're bringing Kyle Trask, finish up the game. Plays well, doesn't leave them all the way back, but, definitely shows that, a little bit of a different change of pace. Was going to start the next game, but breaks his leg. Felipe Franks comes back as the starting quarterback, has an amazing 4 games, and he's all the talk of the offseason if you forget about Kyle Trask. So it's interesting, like we've seen a little bit of contrast, and we know that he knows the offense, and what to do. So it's just a matter of him, but we haven't seen him do it week in and week out. We've only seen small sections. But also, they do have redshirt freshman quarterback Emory Jones, who hasn't really played much in his career. He has more of a change of pace, so it's Kyle Trask is a great thrower. Emory Jones is a much better athlete, can run. So you'll probably see both quarterbacks in, the rest of the season in every game.
Of course, we'll be looking at what's going to happen this weekend. Is the rivalry Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee has not won in 11 seasons against Florida. And some people are asking, is this still a rivalry?
So they haven't won in 11 years, in 11 times in Gainesville, but they beat up 2 years ago to Tennessee. So there's just kind of been obviously one-sided affair between the Gators and the Volunteers, but lately, this, when I was growing up, this was the game of the year. Every year you could circle, this, it was kind of a mini championship between the Gators and Volunteers when it was still former versus Eastbury. As the years gone on, Tennessee's had some rough times. The Gators had some rough times, but even in the Gators' rough times, they're still able to beat the Volunteers. But so to be kind of, to get the rivalry going, Tennessee needs to up their game a little bit. But I'm not complaining about the Gators beating the Volunteers. It's kind of something I look forward to every year.
Something to very much look at. Of course, Ryan is our Florida Gators guy. Florida started off at the 8th position in the AP poll. Now they're in 9th. Looking at the AP poll this week, we saw Michigan slide down from one place from to the 11th spot from the 10th spot, and Utah made it up to the 10th spot. What do you see in Utah? Do you think Utah will be a force in the Pac-12?
Yeah, a lot about what's going to happen in the Pac-12, especially in the Pac-12 South. We're going to be decided Friday night between Utah and USC. Kind of get your weekend started off early. Big game Friday night between I think the two best teams in the Pac-12 South for sure. So, but if Utah wins this game, it's not guaranteed they'll make it to the Pac-12 championship, but they're very likely to.
Looking forward to this weekend. A lot of big games, but of course we'll predict them towards the end of the show. Let's move on to the NFL. A lot of news going on there, a lot of drama. The era of Daniel Jones will begin this weekend. Eli Manning will be benched, and Daniel Jones, the rookie that was selected this past draft, will now be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants after 2 games. He's a starter. Ryan, what does that mean to you?
Well, it just means that the Giants, I think, realize that they're not contenders, and why wait to the end of the year to play Daniel Jones? Let's just let him play. I really think they have nothing to lose. They lost both of their games. First game pretty convincingly against the Cowboys, and then, really was never in against the Bills. You got to see what you got in this quarterback. I just don't. You can't judge how good he's going to be. I don't think this year, because they suffered a lot of injuries and suspensions in the wide receiver position. They're just not a very good team, and I think the organization knows it right now. And just let them play. What does this mean for Eli? Obviously, his era in the Giants is probably over. Do they try to move him before the trade deadline? To some of these teams that need a quarterback. I think that's a possibility, Santiago. Whether he wants to move on from the organization or he just wants, to try to stick it out. Time will tell.
Which teams do you have in mind? Do you think that need a quarterback and maybe Eli could be a good fit for?
Obviously, we'll talk about, but the Steelers, they have their young quarterback Mason Rudolph. I think this is a good chance to let him play. Do the Saints really believe in Teddy Bridgewater? I think so, but I just feel like Eli Manning could step into one of those two teams right now. And
That's not a bad pick. I think the Steelers, obviously, Mason Rudolph. I'm not sure what you know about Mason Rudolph. I don't know. And I forgot about to talk to Ty, but is Mason Rudolph, I mean, a liability? Do you think he has talent? What do you think what happened with him?
Well, he was, he played at Oklahoma State, which they're kind of, playing in the Big 12 conference, where they didn't play against a lot of elite defenses. He threw it around a lot. They scored a lot of points, kind of put up a lot of big stats. But, he didn't have a big arm. Probably, doesn't have a lot of the attributes you're looking for an NFL starting quarterback. But he's a winner. He's playing with his college, his favorite receiver in college, and that's James Washington. So he's got some chemistry there. So it'll be interesting to see, how he does. And again, the Steelers, they're 0-2, and they look pretty bad against the Patriots. Not that good against the Seahawks at times. Are they just not a good team? I guess we'll kind of see overall how good of a team the Steelers are. And what they have in Mason Rudolph is he even going to, you want to see him succeed a little bit, at least, that this guy could be your backup, for the last couple of years behind Ben Roethlisberger. But I hope he, can be a franchise quarterback for the Steelers. I think I always enjoyed watching him play in college. But
yes, and another comment. One person says, "How about the Jaguars?" Eli Manning.
That is
Jaguars.
very true. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Obviously they're playing an unproven rookie quarterback, Gardner Minshew, out of desperation. They brought in Nick Foles to be the quarterback. What did the Jaguars expect? It looks like they're going to be trading Ramsey here. Anytime. Again, I don't think this team is really contending, so I don't think they'll go out and get Eli Manning, but they do have some talent on that defensive side overall. I think it's not a bad pick, though, too, is that he went there. But I think all in all, I don't think Eli Manning's moving on this year. I think they want to keep, because he is that good guy in the locker room, and I think he'll be a good mentor for Daniel Jones. But if somebody comes in with the right price, I wouldn't be surprised if he moves.
Another reason, Jaguars would be a good spot because Eli knows Tom Coughlin. He used to be the former, used to work with the Giants, and that might be a possibility.
That's a very good point, Santiago, yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
But I just don't think the Jaguars are, I think they understand they're not necessarily ready to compete in that division. They had a great effort the other Sunday against Texas. Yeah. Again, being, liking college football, I'm excited to see Gardner Minshew, a guy I didn't expect to really make it in the NFL. And I thought he was going to be kind of, if he did make it, he was kind of a guy who never plays in a backup role. And it's kind of fun to see this guy going out there. He's quite the character. He's got that mustache. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Paxton Lynch, a former Bronco, is going to the Steelers.
Yeah, they need to fill up some depth, because also they traded their backup quarterback, Joshua Dobbs, after he lost to Mason Rudolph in the backup competition to the Jaguars once Nick Foles got hurt. So they're just adding a little depth to their, quarterback room. But, obviously, they're going to go with Mason Rudolph unless he gets hurt.
Denver Broncos started off with a loss against the Raiders, losing 24-16. They lost against the Bears just by 2 points, 16-14, and they're going to play the Packers this weekend. Packers that are looking pretty good. What are your expectations so far with the Broncos?
It's pretty, they're starting the game very slow. First half, the offense was really, very shaky at best. I guess they're kind of treading water with Joe Flacco until their quarterback that picked Drew Lock in the second round out of Missouri is ready to play. But he's injured right now, so it's really, they're just trying to get by. They're not overly talented on offense. They depend a lot on, young players like Philip Lindsay, Roy Freeman, and the running back. And then outside they got Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders. But, they're just missing the X factor. Joe Flacco is a good veteran guy. They have in your team. But I wouldn't ever really consider him an elite quarterback. So in their defense, while playing okay, he hasn't made the big play. They fought very hard against the Bears. A couple breaks at the end of the game didn't go their way, and the Bears were able to kick the game-winning field goal as time expired.
Something to definitely look at. The Broncos with Flacco, obviously still early. The AFC West is pretty much controlled by the Kansas City Chiefs right now, and we'll see what the Raiders do. I know they're 1-1. But is the AFC West owned by Kansas City? I know it's only been 2 games, but do you think this is what's panning out to be?
Oh, yeah, Santiago. This team is so good. And it looks like they're improved on defense, some. Because we know this team can score. But, when the weather gets colder, as far against the game against New England last year, do they have enough toughness to win those close, hard games? That's what they're kind of building for. But, right now, this offense is unstoppable. Just the way the rules are in the NFL, the team is going to score 40-plus points every single game this year.
Do you think we'll see Drew Lock soon?
Well, he's out for at least 6 weeks. I expect to see him when things don't improve, towards the end of this year, as long as he's healthy, and as long as the Broncos really don't turn their season around. I expect to see him, November-ish.
Definitely an eye to look on. Obviously, we've been talking about quarterback competition in Denver as well. Now we know Daniel Jones has won the spot for this weekend at least. But the trade deadline is coming up in a few very soon. Ramsey, as we discussed, is requesting a trade after confrontation. He's been a figurehead in Jacksonville, one of the best defensive courts, and then bringing Nick Foles in was maybe a fresh breath air. But obviously, Foles has been injured on the first quarter of the first game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But anyways, anything else before we get into game predictions?
It's going to be, interesting to see. I'm really interested to see how the Saints do with Teddy Bridgewater. This team is very talented. They didn't look good Sunday without Drew Brees, but, the Rams are a good team. It's going to see how they're going to do this year. And it's interesting to see how the Patriots do. They have a very easy schedule. Comparing this team to, that 16-0 team they had and quite a few years ago, I see a lot of similarities. And this defense is playing so well. Santiago, they haven't given up a touchdown now in 3 games. They didn't give up a touchdown again. Yeah. Yeah. And obviously you got Tom, this is just a really good football team, the Patriots. A lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's true. And,
can you see a 16-0 record, maybe?
I don't know if they'll go 16-0, but I definitely see them no worse than 14. Too. All signs point to them and the Chiefs playing, at the AFC Championship. To me, my surprise team after 2 weeks, surprise player is how good Lamar Jackson's running this Ravens offense, Santiago.
But has it been because they've been playing at easy teams, or do you think they're?
It could be, the Dolphins aren't a very good team, but. And the Cardinals aren't, necessarily a great team either. But to go out, you still got to go out there and play Santiago, no matter who you're playing against. And he's putting up fantastic numbers.
Mahomes numbers.
Yeah, last week Santiago almost threw for 300 yards and ran for over 100 yards. So that's kind of, that's college-like numbers, Santiago. You don't see that very much in the NFL.
Which rookie has been surprising for you this past 2 weeks?
Well, I don't know if it's surprising. I think he was going to be good, and that's Kyler Murray, the number 1 pick in the draft, with back-to-back 300-yard passing games. They don't have a win to show for. They got a tie, but I think he's showing himself he's going to be the future of the Cardinals, and that team just needs to, add some more talent. They're kind of in that tough division, with uh, the Seahawks, Rams, and the 49ers. Another surprise here, Santiago, putting up huge numbers. I'm excited to see him play 16 full games. I think he's very talented, and I think Kyle Shanahan's a great offensive mind.
Garoppolo, obviously the man that people were thinking, was he going to be the guy after Tom Brady in New England? It turned out to be he's been a legit quarterback so far. And maybe that's something that Belichick wanted him to stay, and the front office wanted him to go for a better take. But they do have Stidham, so he definitely is a promising figure. But you never know. In the world of Tom Brady in New England, he could play for another 3 years like nothing.
Santiago, I have no idea when the guy's going to slow down.
Exactly. He's not slowed down yet.
The way that Bill goes, Santiago, he doesn't have to go and win the games, They have a very strong running game, and like we talked about how good that defense is, he doesn't have to stand back there and throw it 50 times. So and they keep him upright. I think, the best offensive line in football.
Now with three great receivers that New England has, do you think there's a possibility Gronk could come back?
I don't think so, Santiago. I think he made something on Twitter that got people excited, but
he's only 29, 30 years old.
I don't think he comes back this year, Santiago. If you look at him, Santiago, the guy's lost a lot of weight.
I know he was on a diet.
He's not working out. Like you think he just wants to enjoy at least 1 or 2 years without football, and I'm not saying he won't come back. I just don't think he's going to come back right now.
Maybe again, Ryan Christa with NFL analysis. Let's head into game predictions. Let's go off with a bang. Michigan versus Wisconsin.
Ooh, what a game! This is a noon kickoff, people. Get your day started off early and hot. Michigan kind of, obviously undefeated, but, hasn't looked impressive in their 2 wins. Going to Madison to play against a team that's outscored their teams 110-0. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. I'm going to go Michigan. I just believe they got a talent in that team. I don't think they played up their potential, but they had a bye week last week. And maybe Wisconsin, even though they haven't played in fair competition, is feeling a little good about themselves and maybe a little overconfident. I think Michigan wins this game.
Auburn versus Texas A&M.
This is going to be a very good, highly touted, SEC West. The SEC West is just so good, Santiago. It's so good, though. Texas A&M will probably come in 4th place, but they still might be a top 15 team. Auburn showed me a lot, against Oregon coming back winning. There's in the last couple weeks, I think Bo Nix has got a lot of confidence. They're running the ball good. 3 100-yard rushers last week against Penn State. That defensive line is so good. I'm going to go Auburn.
War Eagle. Biggest game, I think, is for this weekend. Notre Dame versus Georgia.
It's an awesome matchup, Santiago. 2 great programs. We remember 2 years ago, Jake Brown's first game goes into South Bend and wins the game. Now he hasn't lost many games since then. Jake Brown as the starting quarterback. Notre Dame got a huge winning streak in their regular season, going back to last year. Ian Book runs that offense great. They've already had a big game. Playing against Louisville, Labor Day night, so they're kind of tested so far this year. But Georgia's so big and strong, Santiago, so talented, and I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs in this game.
Bulldogs, but they potentially could wear black jerseys. USC versus number 10 Utah.
USC, trying to rebound after that loss against BYU. We go back to the Beehive State. Actually hosting Utah at the Coliseum Friday night. So have the home crowd. So I'm going to go with, I think Utah is just so fundamentally strong. They do everything right. I think in a kind of a grind out way, I think Utah wins this game.
Utah wins. Colorado versus Arizona State.
Arizona State. What a game last week. Came down winning 10-7 against Michigan State.
Oregon versus Stanford.
Yeah,
no, go ahead. Finish that thought.
I was just going to say, Colorado losing against Air Force last week, ruined their mojo after beating Nebraska. So I'm just going to go Arizona State in this game.
Oregon versus Stanford in Palo Alto.
Stanford looks very, very slow the last couple weeks. Not that good of a team. Or, if they are a good team, then maybe UCF is a great team. We'll see. And it's kind of a hot topic. But I think Stanford plays their hearts out at home, but I just think Justin Herbert and Oregon's very strong. Win the team. I think 2 scores.
Oregon wins.
Yep.
UCLA versus Washington State.
UCLA, they just had a rough start in Santiago. Chip Kelly has not had much success in his return to the Pac-12, and I don't think it gets much success this week. I think another long night against Mike Leach and the Cougars. So Washington State wins. Washington
State. Final, and then Florida versus Tennessee, the rivalry of old.
We talked about a lot about this team early. I was saying when to pick the Gators to win this game, but I think Tennessee fights their hearts out, Santiago, and I think both teams are going to play hard. It's the noon kickoff. I don't think the Swamp will be very electric. It's going to be warm. I think it's kind of going to be another kind of ugly kind of game, but I think the Gators, win by about a touchdown.
Florida Thursday Night Football, the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tennessee losing a game they probably want back against the Colts at home on Sunday. The Jaguars losing 13-12 against the Texans. I don't think it's going to be very entertaining. Thursday night games tend to be, a little hard to watch at times.
This is the best game for Thursday Night Football.
It's tough watching Santiago at times because these players aren't ready to play on Thursday necessarily. But I do think the Titans win this game.
The Titans win Thursday Night Football. And random question, what were the last 2 books you've read?
Last 2 books, obviously, my favorite book in the world is the Bible. And Tim Tebow's autobiography. Biography.
That is a pretty good 2 good selections. They go hand in hand. They could be hand in hand.
I want to say that, Santiago. I love Tim Tebow, but not in the same league as the Bible. But.
Which he's become a regular at College Game Day.
Yeah, well, he does. So he has his own. He does the SEC show, so he's around there now that baseball season's over.
He had a spat about on California. They legislated a law where the college players should be compensated.
What do you think about that, Santiago?
I don't think so. I think they kind of. I gotta do more research, but I'm kind of against that.
I am too. Because it's a difficult subject because you talk about how much millions of dollars. When we talk about football, brings in a lot of money. So does basketball for a lot of schools. But other than that, most other teams and universities lose money. They're not able to bring in revenue. Some schools have good baseball programs, but other than that, now how our athletic department's going to be able to pay every single one of their student athletes all this money. They can't pay football players and not pay, tennis players. It's just. It doesn't make sense to me, and why we love college athletics is because they're playing for the love of the game, And I know it's maybe not as innocent as we like to make it out to be, but I just, I think it's going to really ruin college football or college sports in general if this bill eventually gets signed into law.
They'll probably challenge in court along. Probably challenge in court.
Yeah,
Ryan, what is the best place to reach you to talk to you about the Tennessee board game?
Mad Dog Report 18 on Twitter. That's where I spend a lot of my time. But there's a lot of great football this weekend. I feel like we're finally getting to the deep end of college football. We're in the shallow waters for the first couple weeks. Not a lot of great games. Or marquee games. Now that we're kind of getting into a lot of the meat of conference season. We got this big non-conference game with Notre Dame and Georgia. In the NFL, we're seeing how quarterbacks are going to, new quarterbacks to teams and how the teams are going to do. It's just an exciting time, Santiago. Good weekend in football.
Good weekend in football. Of course, you can reach us at thesportscast.net on Twitter at thesportscast1. We'll be live tweeting a few college football games. I'm not sure if you'll be live tweeting the Florida-Tennessee game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know if I'll be there live, but, I'll give my reactions after the game. I tend not to do a lot of live tweeting during my own team's games, so I don't know if that's for personal reasons. But
there you go. The Florida Gators.
But, yeah, you'll have my reactions, what I found interesting, about that game. And Sandy, let me ask you, as a Florida native, what do you think about UCF? Do you think they have a shot at the playoffs this year? They deserve a shot at the playoffs?
Well, I don't think so. I think strength of schedule is still weak. Hopefully, maybe be at the 7th spot and then work on the schedule next year. But they need to work on some stuff to get things going. What do you think?
I think they're an amazing team. I think they're so fun to watch. But yes, the American is a good conference, Santiago. A lot of good teams, but it's not Power 5 level from top to bottom. But I think they just showed so much against Stanford. I know Stanford isn't a great team, but they're going 45-10 going into the fourth quarter, and they took out all their core players. So it even looked like a blowout at 45-27, but it was much worse than that, Santiago.
Maybe the ACC should let them in. Add them a little bit and make ACC a little bit more interesting.
It would be, Santiago. They go in and play an ACC team this weekend in Pittsburgh, going up to Steel City, and I'd be very surprised if they don't win by at least 2 scores. Against a team that played against Penn State last week and only lost by a score. So I think they're going to play these teams not just to win, but to kind of blow out the other team.
And there you have it. Ryan Christa, Mad Dog Report. Follow him on Twitter. Follow us on thesportscast.net. A lot of good football this weekend. A lot going on. The Notre Dame game definitely will be eyeing in. Of course, got Michigan, Wisconsin, Auburn, Texas, and of course the old rivalry, Florida versus Tennessee. And we'll see what happens in college football where things are starting to play out. Things are starting to move. Who are the real teams? Who are the teams that are who are made out of steel? Anyways.
Exactly.
Ryan, I appreciate you coming out to the sports.
No problem, Daniel. Have a good one, everybody.